stop it.
So it's no secret that ever since post-Endgame, aside from the few good movies we got from Marvel Studios, which in my opinion were No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy, and even the only good series I felt were WandaVision and Loki. But everything else since has been nothing but disappointment, with some ideas that were generally cool but were poorly executed. While it seems that MCU continues to be in decline, we'll occasionally get either a movie or a series that's actually worth watching. In my opinion, Marvel Studios' latest release of Deadpool Wolverine, which is essentially Deadpool 3, is worth watching. Now, I will say that I was a big fan of the first Deadpool movie when it first came out, but I didn't really care much for that second Deadpool movie because I felt it was trying too hard to replicate the magic of the first movie and it was just lacking the simplicity of the first. In case you didn't know, back in 2019, Disney acquired 20th Century Fox's Marvel movies, which included Deadpool. So since this is the first Deadpool movie under Disney, I was a little unsure of what to expect and honestly set low expectations considering Disney's track record. But after having watched it, I genuinely believe that this is one of those movies that you'll better enjoy in theaters instead of waiting for it to be available for streaming.
As far as the story goes, without delving into too many spoilers and details, the story revolves around Deadpool being recruited by an organization called the Time Variance Authority, or TVA for short. If you watch the Loki series, then you'll be familiar with who the TVA is. Deadpool learns that his own timeline is slowly destroying itself due to the death of its anchor being, which is Wolverine. Deadpool ends up grabbing a random Wolverine from another timeline and are forced to work together to try and save Deadpool's timeline, along with all the shenanigans they come across. There were a lot of things I enjoyed about this movie. This movie undoubtedly has the best opening sequence of all the Deadpool movies, probably the most memorable. The song choice for it was oddly perfect, and I'm also pleased to say that the over-the-top humor remains intact, with Deadpool occasionally breaking the fourth wall as we're used to. While some people might be put off by this type of humor, I personally enjoyed it, and the audience at the theater definitely appreciated it as well. So this movie is also filled with cameo appearances, and what I actually liked is that the cameos were used properly, played a role in the plot instead of showing up in just one scene and never to be seen again. I personally like this aspect of the movie, but I know some people hate loads of fan service, which if you're that kind of person, then I guess it'll bother you here. But I think it was handled well enough, just like how it was handled in No Way Home. All the action sequences in this movie were enjoyable to watch. From the opening sequence where we watched Deadpool use a very unique choice for a weapon, and then there was the big action sequence at the end when Deadpool and Wolverine were working together. It reminded me so much of an old school beat 'em up game where you just move to the right and beat up all the bad guys that come along the way. I hope whoever was in charge of the choreography of these fights continues to do so in future Marvel movies, because I've always felt that the fight scenes in Deadpool have always been some of the more unique fight scenes that Marvel has done. I didn't think that there was too much wrong with this movie, and while I don't think this movie was 100% perfect, the one thing that bothered me the most is how Wolverine was utilized. For the purpose of this movie, I wish that we saw a little bit of Wolverine's past, even if it was just for one scene. He did seem to be a bit underdeveloped, and I think this might greatly disappoint big Wolverine fans, as this movie was focused more on Deadpool instead of giving them an equal amount of focus, since this movie is called Deadpool and Wolverine, not Deadpool 3.
Overall, this movie was so awesome. It might be my favorite movie of the year. Deadpool and Wolverine have opposite personalities that tend to work well together on the big screen. Once the movie started, I enjoyed every minute of the over-the-top humor and new action sequences. I hope we get to see another Deadpool movie after this one. I would recommend watching it in the theaters before it goes straight to streaming. It's definitely one of the better Marvel films that I wouldn't mind rewatching over and over again. Thanks for watching, and we appreciate every single one of you. Make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye!